muri aka kanya ndi kumwe na Eugene Dusingizemungu umuyobozi wa Water for People Rwanda uri no mu bitabiriye inama. Turakwakiriye Eugene.
Urakoze cyane.
Yego, twe tugarutse kubiza kugarukaho muri inama, ariko ubundi ni inama mu Rwanda twakwitega iki bishingiye ku biganiro biza kuyiberamo?
Urakoze cyane. U Rwanda ubundi ni igihugu kizwiho kwakira amanama menshi. U Rwanda rero rwatoranyije kugira ngo rwakire inama kuko rufite ubunararibonye mu kwakira amanama cyane cyane mu bintu by'amazi n'isuku n'isukura. U Rwanda ntekereza ko iyi nama ari urubuga ruzashobora kwigiramo ibintu byinshi kugira ngo byihutishe ko abanyarwanda bose bashobora kugerwaho na serivisi z'amazi ndetse n'isuku n'isukura muri rusange. Icy'ingenzi gishobora kuzava muri iyi nama ni uko abantu bazashobora guhura n'abashoramari bashobora gushyira imari zabo mu mazi, ndetse u Rwanda rushobora guhura n'abashoramari bashobora gutuma iterambere ryo mu mazi ndetse n'isuku byihutishwa ku buryo bashobora kugera kuri ntego za NST2 cyangwa se uburyo bw'u Rwanda rufite bwo kugira ngo rushobore kugera kuri viziyo ya 2050.
Ni inama igaruka hanini cyane cyane no ku mugabane wa Afurika ndetse no mu biganiro byibanjirije bimburiye uku gutangiza ku mugaragaro kw'inama iza no gutangizwa na nyakubahwa Minisitiri w'Intebe Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva. Hari ibyagarutse ku kuziba icyuho mu bikorwa remezo bikiri bike kuri uyu mugabane wa Afurika. Ubundi usibye ibikorwa remezo ni izihe mbogamizi zikiri mu gukwirakwiza amazi noneho ku mugabane wa Afurika turebeye muri rusange?
Iyo urebye muri rusange imbogamizi zihari, akenshi ibikorwa remezo usanga bihari ariko ugasanga bidatanga amazi. Iyi nama ikintu izareho cyane cyane ni uburyo ibigo bishinzwe gukwirakwiza amazi byagira ubushobozi buhamye, inzego zikaba zubatse ku mpande zose ku buryo zishobora gukorana zigakemura ikibazo rusanzwe. Iyi nzego buriya zimaze gukorana neza zikaba zubatse cyane cyane ibigo bishinzwe gutanga amazi, bishinzwe gushyiraho amategeko bakabishyiraho neza, na ya mafaranga dushatse yaje ashyira muri ibyo bikorwa kandi bigakora, hamana bya bigo bikagira abakozi bafite ubushobozi buhamye kugira ngo bashobore gutanga amazi meza. Burya kenshi ibikorwa remezo tuba tubifite ariko ugasanga ntabwo bitanga serivisi. Iyi nama rero izareba ibyo bintu, izo mbogamizi zose zituma serivisi zidatangwa kugira ngo izo mbogamizi zishobora kuvamo. Imbogamizi zishobora kuba ibigo kureba ibyo bashobora gukenera ngo bashobora gukora bidashyiraho n'amafaranga, ariko no kugira ngo bashobore gushyiraho amafaranga hakenewe iki kugira ngo niba bakeneye abashoramari nabo baze kandi bashobore gufasha muri iryo terambere ry'amazi n'isuku n'isukura muri Afurika.
Ibyo ni ibikeneye abafatanyabikorwa. Kuri ubu ngubu muri iyi nama harimo n'abafatanyabikorwa batandukanye. Ni iki gisabwa ku bafatanyabikorwa by'umwihariko imiryango mpuzamahanga, ibihugu?
Ikintu gikenewe cyane ubu ngubu ni uburyo bwo gushyira hamwe, kumenya icyo abantu bakeneye kugira ngo ibyo bintu bishyirwe mu bikorwa. Akenshi abafatanyabikorwa icyo baba bakeneye mu cyongereza nibyo bita enabling environment, cyangwa se uburyo ibihugu byashyiraho kugira ngo bashobore gushyiramo imari zabo ku buryo bworoshye hanyuma bikorwe mu gihe cyihuse. Ikindi kintu burya kiba gikomeye, amategeko. Iyo amategeko ameze neza, ishoramari nk'u Rwanda ubwarwo bashyizeho uburyo abantu bashobora gushora imari ku buryo bworoshye mu Rwanda. Ibindi bihugu rero nicyo kintu bishobora kwigira ku Rwanda, ni gute bashobora gushyira amategeko yorohereza abashoramari kuza mu Rwanda. Iyo miryango mpuzamahanga nayo ni uko nguko, ni gute yafatanya n'ibihugu kugira ngo bihutishe iterambere ry'amazi ndetse n'isuku n'isukura muri Afurika. Iyo urebye muri Afurika imbogamizi bafite ni uko gushyiraho ibyo bintu bituma abafatanyabikorwa bose bibona muri ibyo bikorwa byose bijyana n'isuku n'isukura. Kandi ikindi buriya gihari, amazi cyangwa isuku n'isukura ntabwo yagombye kuba ahagaze yonyine muri government. Harimo ibindi bikorwa bijyana nayo. Buriya amazi ntashobora kugerwaho hadafite uburyo ibidukikije bifashwe neza. Iyo amazi abonetse bigira ingaruka nziza ku buzima bw'abantu. Iyo amazi abonetse cyangwa isuku n'isukura bigira nziza ku bukungu bw'igihugu. Afurika rero igomba kumva ibyo bintu byose kugira ngo gutanga amazi ntabwo ari kugira ngo abantu babone amazi yo kunywa, ahubwo bigira ingaruka nyinshi ku banyeshuri biga, ku bidukikije, ku buzima. Ugasanga n'amafaranga yagombye kugenda ku buzima yagabanuka kubera ko abivuza babaye makeya. Iyo urebye indwara ziterwa n'abantu banyweye amazi mabi cyangwa badafite isuku usanga arizo nyinshi. Izo rero zigabanyutse kubera ko abantu bagize amazi meza, bagize isuku nziza, wasanga ubuzima buteye imbere muri Afurika, ugasanga abantu bicwaga n'indwara zo kubura amazi baragabanutse.
Mbere gato yuko dusoza mu kiganiro nk'uko nari maze kubivuga cyabimburiye itangizwa ku mugaragaro ry'inama, hagarutswe no ku bushake bwa za guverinoma z'ibihugu byo kuri uyu mugabane wa Afurika. Niki kibura kugira ngo izi guverinoma zo kuri z'ibihugu byo kuri uyu mugabane wa Afurika zibyumve neza, zibyumve ko zikwiye gushyira muri politiki yazo ishyirwa mu bikorwa ry'ibyo bikorwa remezo nk'uko babivugaga? Niki gisabwa?
Buriya nk'uko iyi nama ibivuga, hakeneye icyo bita ubuyobozi bugira impinduka kujya mu myumvire y'ibintu by'amazi. Bakumva ko amazi ari ikintu cyangombwa ku buzima bw'abantu, bakumva ko amazi ari ngombwa ku iterambere ry'abantu, ko buriya nta mazi ahari ubukerarugendo ntibwakunda. Ubumva hano tudafite amazi ubu ngubu ntabwo inama ishobora kubera hano. Ni ukuvuga abayobozi b'Afurika bagomba kumva ko amazi ari ngombwa kugira ngo iterambere Afurika dushaka dushobore kwigeraho. Buriya impinduka mu buyobozi niyo izatuma twishobora kwihuza iterambere mu bikorwa remezo by'amazi n'isuku n'isukura.
Urakoze cyane Jean, nkuko nari natangiye mbivuga ni inama yitabiriwe n'abayobozi bakuru mu nzego
for the official opening of this symposium. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very, very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister, for joining us. Let's keep the energy up. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Wonderful. We may have our seats now. Right Honorable Prime Minister, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the Africa Water and Sanitation Systems Leadership Symposium is now formally in session. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe, and that I know that we have other Eugenes in the room. You can call me Bujen. I'll appreciate and I'll accept that. I'll be your Masters of Ceremony today. And I wanted to just see by show of hands, who's visiting Rwanda for the first time? Show of hands. Can you give them an ululation Rwanda full applause? If you're visiting Rwanda for the first time, I want to tell you, you're in a country that is one of the best to be born a woman. And this is a fact. You're also in a country, like I always say, where we respect pedestrians. And when you're crossing the zebra crossing, the drivers will not ask you, are you a zebra? They'll give you room to easily cross the road, nice and easy. This is also a country where you're guaranteed to keep your phone the longest. I've been here since 2008. I actually found love here, by the way. For those who are here for the first time, you might also end up finding love. And a nationality, for that matter. And I've had my phone for the last 10 years. I've kept 7 of them in there. I know of countries where someone will stop you on the road and tell you, boss, can I keep that phone for you? And that is not this country. So welcome to Rwanda. Another round of applause to our visitors visiting Rwanda for the first time. Now, I want to say that Africa's water agenda has spent this year climbing the global stage. This is a fact. From the recent African Union's chosen theme to the United Nations in New York and now right here in Kigali, it is definitely my privilege and honor to set the ball rolling by inviting our Minister of Infrastructure of the Republic of Rwanda to come and give his opening remarks. Let's put our hands together for Honorable Damien Murwana Shaka as he comes to address us this morning.
Right Honorable Prime Minister, Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished Head of Institutions, Development Partners, Financiers, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to welcome you to Kigali and to the Africa Water and Sanitation Systems Leadership Symposium. Rwanda is honored to host this important gathering convened by the African Ministers' Council on Water and the African Union Commission at a time when water and sanitation are receiving renewed political attention across our continent. I extend our sincere appreciation to the African Ministers' Council on Water, the African Union Commission, development partners, financiers, private sector partners, and all institutions represented here. Water and sanitation are not merely sectorial priorities. They are fundamental to public health, economic development, climate resilience, urbanization, and human dignity. Yet, despite progress, Africa continues to face significant gaps in access, service quality, financing, and institutional capacity. Our challenge is therefore not simply to build more infrastructures. We must build reliable, affordable, safe, resilient, sustainable water and sanitation system that can serve our growing population and economies over the long term. This requires a fundamental shift from project to systems, from infrastructure delivery to sustainable services, from dependence on external financing toward stronger domestic resource mobilization and greater private sector participation. We must strengthen our utilities and institutions, improve efficiency and accountability, develop bankable projects, mobilize innovative financing, and strategically use public and concession resources to unlock additional investment. The Africa Water Vision 2063 and policy, with its ambition of a water secure and resilient Africa with the safe sanitation for all, provides a clear continental direction. Our responsibility now is to translate that ambition to concrete action and measurable results. As a host, Rwanda also comes to this discussion with humility. We made progress in expanding access to improved water and sanitation services, but we recognize that access alone is not enough. Our focus must increasingly be on quality, reliability, safety, and affordability. The success of this symposium should therefore not be measured by the number of speeches or panels, by the partnership formed, investment mobilized, reforms advanced, and commitment implemented after this symposium. I encourage all of us to reflect on 4 questions. What must we change in our policy? How must we change the way we finance the sector? How can we strengthen the performance of our institutions and utilities? And most importantly, what will we do differently when we return home? Let us use this opportunity to move from dialogue to decisions, from decisions to investment, and from investment to sustainable services. Rwanda is pleased to provide a platform for these important continental conversations. I wish you a fruitful deliberations, meaningful partnerships, and tangible outcome from this symposium. And what a better way to begin our time together than with a taste of Rwanda warmth and a vibrant culture. It is now my honor to welcome Inhayoberana Cultural Troupe. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
bagore bezana ese bagore y'abagore y'abagore bezana abakobwa beza b'abanyarwanda nimwiyegeranye
yebwe ntore z'u Rwanda yebwe bahungu muhuzi y'ikirenge bagabo bambaye
aho rero kivu mu cyuga mizo bagira
imiheto ntarungu muraku bururusabaza
aho irahera bitikaye
What a performance. What a performance. And they're just started. I know that you'll have plenty of time to witness more of that cultural performance in the course of your stay here in Rwanda. By the way, there's one more thing we always do here in Rwanda. We gift a lot. We do a lot of gifting. And when someone tells you, nguhae inga, they say, I've given you a cow. I've gifted you a cow. And so for all of you, mbahae inga. How you'll carry it back to your home is not my problem. All right, so as we transition from Rwanda, I want us now to welcome His Excellency Abdullah Ahmed Balala, Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs for Energy and Sustainability of the United Arab Emirates, who will now speak to us as we move from Kigali to the road ahead. That's the 2026 UN Water Conference in Abu Dhabi. His Excellency, let's appreciate him one more time as he takes the stage.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister of Rwanda, Excellencies, distinguished leaders and friends, thank you for this important convening. It's truly a pleasure to join you here today in the opening of the Africa Water and Sanitation Systems Leadership Symposium. My sincere appreciation to the government of Rwanda for their hospitality and continued leadership for hosting this symposium. We gathered today with a shared purpose to accelerate access to clean water and sanitation. But we want to do this through concrete actions. On behalf of the United Arab Emirates, I applaud the clear leadership and commitment to sanitation and water systems change led by the leaders from across the continent. It is also important to recognize the African Union and the African Ministers' Council on Water Leadership in articulating a collective and continent-wide vision for water ahead of the 2026 United Nations Water Conference. Across Africa and around the world, water is no longer a sector issue at the margins of foreign policy. It is the foundation of prosperity, resilience, and sustainable development. It underpins health, food systems, energy, economic growth, and climate resilience, making it one of the defining strategic priorities of our time. We therefore also congratulate the African Union for innovating sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems as this year's theme to achieve goals of Agenda 2063. However, as we all know, the reality is we have a lot of work ahead of us. Climate change, population growth, urbanization, and rising demand are increasing the pressure on water systems across the region, but also across the world. Freshwater resources are becoming more constrained and less predictable. 1 in 4 people globally still lack access to safe water and sanitation, while financing continues to fall far short of global needs. This is why action-oriented convenings such as Kigali are so important, but focusing on institutional strengthening, governance, regulatory reform, and investment readiness. This symposium is helping build the enabling environment needed to strengthen confidence, unlock finance, and accelerate implementation. And here, the emphasis on implementation especially is so important. Earlier this year, the United Arab Emirates participated in the WASH Forum held on the sideline of the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, bringing together governments, partners, and private sector stakeholders around country-led approaches to accelerate investment capacity and technology deployment. Prior to that, we worked closely with partners in South Africa on the South Africa Water Investment Summit in Cape Town, which helped place water investment and financing more firmly on the international agenda. And in January, we joined our conference co-host, Senegal, at the high-level preparatory meeting in Dakar. This key milestone on the road to the 2026 UN Water Conference brought together over 3,000 participants from more than 120 countries. At Dakar, together with our 12 interactive dialogue co-chairs, we began developing a roadmap centered on implementation, including scaling investments in infrastructure, financing, capacity building, and innovation. This roadmap will carry us all to Abu Dhabi next December. However, the challenge before us is no longer of ambition. The challenge, I say it again, is implementation. Our collective task is to mobilize the partnerships, finance, technology, and political leadership above all, required to turn commitments into measurable outcomes for people and for communities. Today, you have identified a critical challenge facing the water sector: the need for stronger pipeline of investable projects, greater institutional capacity, and the reform required to attract finance at scale. Yet, the challenge also presents an economic opportunity. Water is not only a development imperative, it is an economic imperative, and it is a huge opportunity for everyone. Stronger water systems supports jobs, productivity, food security, and long-term prosperity. Hence, unlocking investment in water means unlocking investment in Africa's future. With your leadership, this symposium can demonstrate a powerful commitment from African leaders to address this challenge and harness this opportunity. In turn, the UAE and Senegal commit to bring together development finance institutions, philanthropies, investors, businesses, and innovators in Abu Dhabi in response. As co-hosts, the UAE and Senegal are acting as conveners and partners for governments, financial institutions, businesses, researchers, and communities to accelerate the implementation and action at scale. We ask you humbly to be bold. We ask you to be ambitious, and be assured that the co-hosts and the 12 co-chairs of the interactive dialogues will bring the full spectrum of the cycle to respond to your demand-side commitments and at the conference in Abu Dhabi. As a UAE official, I also want to assure you that the UAE is committed to Africa's growth, development, and sustained prosperity. We will continue to serve as an advocate, we will continue to serve as a connector, and as a catalyst for Africa's water agenda. In September 2023, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, our Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, reminded us all that few things are as fundamental to human life as access to water, and that no nation will be immune from the cascading effects of unmitigated water scarcity. It is with this recognition that water was placed firmly at the core of the UAE's foreign policy. The UAE itself has been responding to these challenges with commitments, resolve, and dedication, supported at the highest level of political leadership, and here are some examples. In 2023, we elevated water within the COP28 process and have ensured that this momentum has carried through the COPs at COP29 in Baku and at COP30 in Belém in Brazil. 2 years ago, we launched the Mohammed bin Zayed Water Initiative to accelerate technological innovation and deployment to tackle water scarcity. Through the 119 million US dollars prize purse, the UAE is encouraging new innovations worldwide that will revolutionize desalination and water use and efficiency. And these innovations are sustainable, deployable, scalable, but also affordable. I also want to recognize the tremendous efforts from the newly launched Abu Dhabi Global Water Platform, a $2 billion US initiative that will accelerate water projects and expand access to clean water for 10 million people globally by 2030. And in 2024, the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development signed a financing agreement with the government of Rwanda to strengthen water transmission and distribution infrastructure, helping expand access to clean water and enhance water security for communities across the country. And we are very proud of that partnership. We hope to see exactly this kind of partnership scaled through the conference process. Local priorities, backed by investments, and delivering tangible improvements to people's lives. And at the center of this today is our role as a co-host of the 2026 UN Water Conference, alongside our dear brothers and sisters and partners, Senegal, working together to drive a long overdue shift in how water is elevated and addressed across the international agenda. Excellencies, the decisions we take today will shape the prosperity, resilience, and stability of future generations. The opportunity before us is not simply to discuss water challenges, but to deliver water solutions. Water must receive the highest level of leadership and commitment here at the Africa Water and Sanitation Systems Leadership Symposium, but also at the 2026 UN Water Conference, and I would say beyond as well. Collectively, we must work towards a world where 2.1 billion people currently lack access to safely managed water gain that access, and the 3.4 billion people that lack safely managed sanitation gain that basic right. We are committed to delivering a conference that goes beyond dialogue, one that unlocks investment, strengthens partnerships, scales innovation, and accelerates implementation. The success will not be measured by what we say here or in Abu Dhabi or anywhere else. The success will be how we can deliver afterwards. I look forward to welcoming you all at the end of this year in Abu Dhabi in order for us all to make history at the United Nations Water Conference. Thank you.
Another warm round of applause to His Excellency. Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like us now to put our hands together for His Excellency Moses Vilakati, who's the Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy, and Sustainable Environment of the African Union Commission, who will speak to the African Union's mandate, of course, looking into the Africa Water Vision and Agenda 2063. His Excellency, please, let's appreciate him as he takes the floor.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. Your Excellency, Dr. Justin Nsengiyumva, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of Rwanda, Your Excellency, Dr. Chik Tidiane Dier, AMCAO President and Minister of Water and Sanitation of the Republic of Senegal, Honorable Ministers, distinguished heads of delegates and institutions, development partners,
and strategic financiers, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you greetings from His Excellency Mohammed Ali Yusuf, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, who would have loved to be part of this important symposium. Unfortunately, he has other important engagement. Please also allow me to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, for hosting this grand event. In the same vein, let me express our gratitude to the Right Honorable Prime Minister for gracing this official opening. The people and the government of the Republic of Rwanda never stop impressing us with their warm hospitality, and we are really delighted to be in this beautiful and clean city of Kigali. I think we need to put our hands together for Kigali. Water and sanitation are at the center of the efforts to attain the aspirations of Agenda 2063, as well as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. It is for this reason that Africa has taken a bold step this year when the 39th AU Assembly of Heads of States and Government declared the theme of the year 2026 being assuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063. This is not a mere communication slogan. Rather, it underpins the strengthening of water security towards the attainment of Africa's aspirations to expand economic opportunities, as well as curtail the factors underlying unemployment, factors underlying migration, factors underlying displacement, as well as insecurity. As if that was not enough, our heads of state and government this year also endorsed the African Water Vision 2063 and its policy, thus shaping the future of Africa water and sanitation as pillars of sustainability and economic growth. Therefore, this symposium is convened under those key strategic pronouncements, and it is expected to add value to the acceleration of the implementation and realization of these decisions. I also want to acknowledge here the leadership of His Excellency Bassirou Diomaye Faye, the President of the Republic of Senegal, and His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, the President of the Republic of Zambia, who jointly championed this agenda at the highest political level and carried it to its adoption. Excellencies, distinguished participants, the Africa Water Vision 2063 and its policy sets out our ambition in a single line: a water secure and resilient Africa with safe sanitation for all. Beneath that line sits 8 vision statements and their policy goals. I would like to draw the attention of this audience to 3 of them. Vision Statement 4, for example, which is on good water governance systems. Vision Statement 7, which is on human capital development and technological empowerment. Vision Statement 8, investment and integrated water information systems. These underpin the reason this symposium exists. There is no other country or institution and even sector that can excel without good governance, that can excel without human capital, that can excel without investment and information. I cannot overemphasize this point enough. Even in this area of artificial intelligence, we still need technical experts to develop the same AI and other applications to support monitoring and reporting on water and sanitation. Africa needs to improve its investments in the water and sanitation sectors, as these are the bedrock of our development. The water vision is explicit that lasting solutions are those which tackle the governance and institutional capacity constraints underlying water insecurity, and that investment commensurate with the sector's importance will allow the improvement of governance and management capacity at all levels. That is the proposition this symposium is asked to operationalize. Member states, being the custodians, they have the critical role of incorporating the Africa Water Vision 2063 and its policy into their national policies and investment frameworks, among other important measures. It will take the alignment of national water and sanitation policies and institutional mandates with clear accountability and transparency principles, as well as data and information sharing by member states. Excellencies, the African Union has not left implementation unmeasured. Through the African Ministers' Councils on Water, serving as the sectorial ministerial committee on water and sanitation of our specialized technical committee on agriculture, rural development, water and environment, we continuously track progress using the Africa Water and Sanitation Sector Monitoring System, commonly called WASMO, as well as the AIP-PIDA Water Investment Scorecard. I would like to draw two consequences to the attention of the delegates. The first one is that what is said in this hall this week has somehow to go. The Executive Committee of AMCAO will therefore meet in October and will consider what Kigali contributed to the implementation of the AU theme of the year and the implementation of the African Water Vision 2063 and policy. I hope to meet all of you then. That assessment will inform what the Commission reports at the end of this year to the 40th African Union Assembly in January 2027. I want to report with pride and say, this is the decision that we took in Kigali. The second is that a monitoring system is only as good as what member states fit it with. I asked each delegation, therefore, who are here to treat reporting into the WASMO and the AIP-PIDA Water Investment Scorecard not as an administrative obligation to the African Union Commission, but as the mechanism by which your own reforms record becomes visible to those who lend and invest, particularly in the water and sanitation sector. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, the theme elevates water and sanitation to a continental political priority, recognizing them as catalysts for economic transformation, for climate resilience, for public health, for food security, and for regional cooperation. May I also submit to you all that both the AU theme of the year 2026 and the water vision and policy are timely as Africa's weather forecast for 2026-2027 has observed a developing phenomena which is robust, commonly called El Nino, with potential devastating effects. Science tells us that it could be the strongest in 50 years. And therefore, issues of water will be of paramount importance for us all. Some parts of Africa are likely to have plenty of it, implying flood damages, while others are expected to endure drought, and yet others will be experiencing heat waves. The message, therefore, is clear. We need to be better prepared. On the water vision and policy, we are developing the first implementation plan, which will serve as a basis for priority setting and monitoring, as well as reporting. As is this custom of the African Union, the process is consultative, and all member states and other stakeholders have been given a chance to make a contribution. AMCAO and AUC will facilitate more consultations, including on the Africa Common Position to the 2026 UN Water Conference, which is supposed to be informed by the Africa Water Vision 2063 and the policy. The vision has been endorsed, therefore Kigali is asked to demonstrate that it can be executed, particularly on those vision statements that necessitated the organization of this symposium, which are 4, 7, and 8. Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, the African Union Commission stands ready to work hand in hand with member states, to work with AMCAO and all other strategic stakeholders, including partners, to accelerate implementation of the outcomes of this symposium. The outcomes of the Kigali Symposium will also fit into Africa's contribution to the 2026 United Nations Water Conference, as well as the 11th World Water Forum in 2027, towards realization of the AU and UN commitment to ensuring that African perspectives shape the global agenda, as expressed during the 10th African Union United Nations Annual Conference. Honorable Prime Minister and honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, I would like to inform you that the African Union values young people due to their capability in the area of innovation and solution generation on this continent. As such, when I learned that there are some young people who will pitch their innovation projects, I decided that the best 5 representing all the political regions of the AU will receive funding to attend the 2026 UN Water Conference. This means round tickets as well as subsistence allowance for their stay in the UAE for the conference. Let them enjoy. As I conclude, Your Excellencies, I would like to commend AMCAO, OITNEPAT, UNECA, AFDB, AWF, and all of our development partners for their cooperation, as well as contributions that has made this symposium possible. I can't thank them enough, but I just want to say thank you once again to the people and the government of the Republic of Rwanda for being such an excellent host. I wish you all fruitful deliberations and a successful symposium. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Moses Vilakati. Thank you for reminding us that our work here at this symposium is clearly cut out in that sense. I want us now to transition nicely and get to hear a bit more on the continental reform agenda, and I'll now take this particular moment to welcome His Excellency Cheikh Tidiane Diaye, who's the President of AMCAO and the Minister of Water and Sanitation of the Republic of Senegal. Let's appreciate him as he joins us to deliver his remarks this morning.
Excellence, Dr. Justin Mwenshi Shwengi Yumva, Premier ministre de la République du Rwanda, Excellence, M. Damien Murwanashakia, ministre des Infrastructures de la République du Rwanda, Excellence, le professeur Joseph Terlumun Utsev, ministre des Ressources en eau et de l'assainissement de la République du Nigeria et vice-président de l'AMCAO pour l'Afrique de l'Ouest, Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs les ministres, Excellences, Monsieur Moses Vilakati, commissaire de l'Union africaine chargé de l'agriculture, du développement rural, de l'économie bleue et de l'environnement durable, Excellences, Mesdames, Messieurs les chefs des institutions régionales et continentales, Mesdames, Messieurs les partenaires au développement, Mesdames, Messieurs, chers collègues et amis du secteur de l'eau et de l'assainissement en Afrique, chers participants, Mouirive au Muraho. C'est pour moi un grand honneur de prendre la parole à Kigali, au nom du Conseil des ministres africains chargé de l'eau, AMCAO, mais également au nom de M. le Premier ministre de la République du Sénégal, qui a été invité par son homologue rwandais et qui m'a fait l'honneur de le représenter à ce symposium. Permettez-moi aussi, avant tout, de transmettre les salutations chaleureuses et fraternelles de son Excellence Bassirou Diomaye Faye, président de la République du Sénégal, à son Excellence M. Paul Kagame, président de la République du Rwanda, ainsi qu'au gouvernement et au peuple rwandais. Je voudrais, au nom du Sénégal et de l'AMCAO, exprimer toute ma gratitude aux autorités rwandaises pour leur accueil chaleureux, leur hospitalité et leur engagement constant en faveur du développement du continent africain, mais également féliciter les organisateurs du symposium pour avoir choisi ce thème qui est d'une brûlante actualité, mais également d'une remarquable pertinence. Il est particulièrement heureux que Kigali ait été choisi pour abriter cet important symposium, car nulle autre place sur notre continent n'aurait été plus appropriée pour parler de vision, de leadership et de transformation durable que Kigali. Kigali incarne en effet avec force ce que le leadership, la vision et la discipline collective peuvent accomplir en matière de transformation d'un pays. Le Rwanda nous rappelle qu'avec une vision claire, un leadership déterminé et la mobilisation de toutes les forces vives, l'Afrique faut transformer ses défis en opportunités et bâtir le continent que nous voulons. Nous devons donc tous, mesdames et messieurs, nous inspirer de cet exemple du Rwanda. Ce symposium se tient à un moment où nous célébrons le thème de l'Union africaine pour l'année 2026, qui est de garantir un approvisionnement durable en eau et des systèmes d'assainissement sûrs pour atteindre les objectifs de l'agenda 2063. Ce choix est profondément significatif. Il signifie que l'eau et l'assainissement ne peuvent plus être considérés comme de simples secteurs techniques, car l'eau est avant tout un impératif de développement, une question de santé publique, de sécurité alimentaire, d'énergie, de résilience climatique, de paix et de stabilité. En somme, l'eau est un enjeu de souveraineté et de sécurité pour toute l'Afrique. C'est pour toutes ces raisons que nous devons changer notre paradigme lorsqu'il s'agit de l'eau. L'Afrique ne doit plus se contenter seulement de faire des diagnostics, d'identifier et de décrire ces crises de l'eau. Elle doit maintenant bâtir une véritable sécurité hydrique sur l'ensemble du continent. L'adoption de ce thème sur l'eau et l'assainissement est donc un appel à l'action à l'échelle de toute l'Afrique. Il témoigne de l'engagement résolu de l'Afrique à protéger les intérêts de la population africaine, ainsi que de la volonté de tous les améliorer l'accès à des services d'assainissement sûrs. Mesdames et messieurs, la marche vers la matérialisation de notre ambition de garantir un accès sûr à l'eau et à l'assainissement à l'ensemble de notre peuple, cette marche est désormais lancée. Elle a franchi une étape historique avec l'adoption de la nouvelle vision et politique africaine de l'eau lors de la 14e session de l'Assemblée générale du Conseil des ministres africains de l'eau AMCAO, qui a été tenue à Dakar le 29 septembre 2025. Cette vision, mesdames et messieurs, n'est pas un nouveau document de politique publique. Elle constitue notre boussole commune. Elle affirme que l'eau doit être placée au cœur de la transformation économique et sociale du continent. Elle nous rappelle et nous appelle à garantir l'accès universel à l'eau potable et à l'assainissement, ainsi qu'à l'hygiène à toute l'Afrique, à renforcer la résilience de nos sociétés face au changement climatique, à améliorer la gouvernance et la redevabilité, à mobiliser davantage d'investissements, à développer nos connaissances et nos données et à renforcer la coopération autour de nos bassins et nos ressources en eau partagées. Quelques mois seulement après Dakar, en février 2026, à Addis Abeba, la 39e session ordinaire de l'Assemblée des chefs d'État et de gouvernement a approuvé la nouvelle vision et politique africaine de l'eau, lui donnant une légitimité politique continentale de très haut niveau. Permettez-moi, mesdames, messieurs, de rendre un hommage appuyé à mes collègues ministres africains chargés de l'eau pour leur leadership, les efforts qu'ils ont consentis nuit et jour pour nous doter de cette nouvelle vision, mais plus encore de la pleine conscience qu'ils ont qu'au-delà de nos intérêts nationaux, nous pouvons et devons bâtir des convergences fortes et promouvoir nos complémentarités pour une Afrique forte, unie et solidaire. Dakar a donc donné naissance à la nouvelle politique et vision africaine de l'eau en 2026. Addis Abeba lui a donné la légitimité politique nécessaire. Et aujourd'hui, ici à Kigali, nous devons contribuer à lui garantir la force d'action nécessaire pour la traduire en actes. Voilà donc, mesdames et messieurs, le sens profond de notre rencontre. Nous devons désormais passer de la vision à l'exécution, car l'Afrique ne manque ni de stratégie, ni de résolution, ni de déclaration. Souvent d'ailleurs, on a beaucoup et de très belles déclarations. Notre problème, ce qui nous manque encore, c'est la vitesse d'exécution lorsque nous avons fini d'élaborer nos visions. Et sur l'eau, nous ne pouvons plus nous permettre d'attendre. Chaque année de retard signifie des millions de personnes supplémentaires exposées à l'insécurité hydrique, aux maladies liées à l'eau, aux effets du changement climatique et à la dégradation de leurs conditions de vie. Claire, faire de la vision africaine de l'eau 2063 un agenda d'investissement, un agenda d'action, mais surtout un agenda de résultats et d'impact. Pour faire face aux enjeux multiformes du secteur de l'eau et de l'assainissement, il nous faut attirer davantage d'investissements et de capitaux, publics et privés, structurer des mécanismes innovants de financement, mais aussi renforcer les institutions africaines de financement du développement. Nous devons tous comprendre et le faire également comprendre à nos partenaires au développement que financer l'eau n'est pas une dépense, c'est un investissement dans le développement, dans la santé, dans la productivité et dans la stabilité du continent africain. Mesdames et messieurs, je voudrais à ce stade aborder une autre dimension de notre politique et de notre vision. C'est celle de la coopération. C'est un enjeu sur notre continent, mais c'est également une responsabilité. L'eau ignore les frontières, les fleuves ignorent les frontières, nos nappes phréatiques ignorent nos frontières également. Les écosystèmes ignorent les frontières et les défis liés au changement climatique ne connaissent pas non plus de frontières. C'est pour cette raison et pour d'autres que la coopération transfrontalière n'est pas seulement un choix diplomatique et politique facultatif. C'est une nécessité stratégique. Les données que nous avons indiquent qu'environ 90% de nos ressources en eau de surface sont transfrontalières et assurent la survie et les moyens de subsistance d'au moins 75% de la population africaine. Elle nous enseigne également ces données que près de 40% de la population africaine dépend d'aquifères transfrontaliers, en particulier dans les régions arides et sujettes à la sécheresse, ce qui nécessite des approches collaboratives pour garantir des solutions équitables et durables en matière d'eau et d'assainissement. Nous devons faire donc de nos bassins transfrontaliers non pas des espaces de compétition, mais des espaces de coopération, d'intégration et de prospérité partagée. L'eau doit rapprocher les peuples africains. L'eau ne doit jamais diviser les Africains et les mettre en conflit. Monsieur le Premier ministre, Mesdames, Messieurs les ministres, distingués participants, je voudrais, pour terminer ce voyage qui nous aura menés au fil de l'eau, de Dakar à Addis Abeba et maintenant à Kigali, amorcer donc la prochaine étape de ce voyage vers Abu Dhabi, aux Émirats arabes unis, en décembre prochain. Dans quelques mois, en effet, du 8 au 10 décembre, le Sénégal aura l'honneur de co-présider avec les Émirats arabes unis la conférence des Nations unies sur l'eau. Nous devons tous le savoir. Cette conférence ne doit pas être seulement la conférence du Sénégal et des Émirats arabes unis. Elle ne doit pas être une conférence de plus. Elle doit être un moment important pour toute la communauté mondiale, mais surtout un moment important pour le continent africain. C'est pourquoi, depuis Dakar, nous avons voulu placer la préparation de la conférence sous le signe du dialogue, de la mobilisation et de l'action. Aussi, Monsieur le Premier ministre, je voudrais saisir cette opportunité, ce moment solennel, pour lancer ici un appel. À Abu Dhabi, Mesdames, Messieurs, chers collègues ministres, l'Afrique doit parler d'une seule voix. Nous devons y arriver avec une position africaine forte, des priorités clairement identifiées, des engagements crédibles, des propositions concrètes sur le financement, une ambition forte pour l'accès universel à l'eau et à l'assainissement, ainsi qu'une vision claire sur le climat, sur la coopération transfrontalière, les infrastructures, la gouvernance et l'innovation. Nous ne devons pas arriver à Abu Dhabi comme une addition de pays. Nous devons arriver à Abu Dhabi comme un continent, notre cher continent, l'Afrique. Un continent qui sait ce qu'il veut, qui connaît ses défis, mais qui n'attend pas la responsabilité de la résolution de ces défis des autres pays, qui s'engagent à régler ses propres problèmes. Nous devons y arriver surtout comme un continent qui, dans le domaine de l'eau, mais aussi dans d'autres domaines, connaît sa valeur et sait tout ce qu'il peut apporter aussi au reste du monde. Il est heureux à cet égard de noter que l'Afrique a pris part active aux préparatifs de la conférence des Nations Unies, notamment à travers la coprésidence des dialogues interactifs. En effet, 4 pays africains, notamment le Ghana, l'Égypte, la Zambie et l'Afrique du Sud, sont parmi les coprésidents des 6 dialogues interactifs que sont l'eau pour la population, l'eau pour la prospérité, l'eau pour la planète, l'eau pour la coopération, l'eau dans les processus multilatéraux et les investissements pour l'eau. Les objectifs de ces coprésidences, c'est de mettre en évidence les points communs, les perspectives transversales et les priorités émergentes, afin que chacun des dialogues interactifs livre des résultats parmi les plus significatifs. La République du Sénégal apprécie la contribution de tous les États africains, de l'Union africaine, mais également de l'AMCAO. Et j'invite dans ce contexte l'ensemble des régions africaines, des communautés économiques régionales, sous le leadership de l'Union africaine, la Banque africaine de développement, les organisations continentales et internationales, et l'ensemble des acteurs de la société civile, du secteur privé, des universités et centres de recherche et des communautés africaines à se mobiliser pour prendre part à la conférence des Nations Unies. Mesdames, Messieurs, Dakar a posé les fondations. Addis Abeba a consacré une ambition et Kigali nous invite aujourd'hui à passer à l'action. Demain, en décembre, Abu Dhabi nous donnera l'occasion de porter une ambition au monde, celle de l'Afrique. Faisons donc de cette conférence un véritable succès et faisons de l'année 2026 un véritable tournant pour toute l'Afrique. Car notre ambition, pour finir, est toute simple. pour l'ensemble des pays ici représentés, mais pour tous les autres du continent africain, pour tous nos gouvernements, l'ambition est la seule, c'est de bâtir une Afrique où chaque enfant peut boire une eau sûre, une Afrique où chaque famille peut vivre dans un environnement assaini, une Afrique où chaque agriculteur peut compter sur une ressource en eau durable, où chaque ville est préparée à faire face aux défis du changement climatique, une Afrique où l'eau rapproche les nations au lieu de les diviser, enfin une Afrique qui se donne les moyens de bâtir son avenir en toute souveraineté. C'est cette Afrique-là que nous voulons et que nous voulons construire ensemble pour les prochaines générations. Je vous remercie, mesdames et messieurs, pour votre bien aimable attention.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Thank you very much for those very interesting remarks. In my career as a broadcast journalist, I've always wondered, when I meet people, they say, we see you on TV, and most of the times I'm not seeing them. So today I want us to just check around. If you see any camera, I want us to wave to those who are watching us. Actually, we are live, by the way. Just wave, a round of applause, please, to those who are watching us back at home. Let's clap for them and appreciate them for choosing to be tuned in to this very important session today. So, in French, I was saying thank you for watching. It is now my distinct honor, ladies and gentlemen, to invite the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Rwanda to deliver the keynote address and to bless this symposium by declaring it officially open in his own words. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as he joins us.
Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, distinguished guests, on behalf of the government of Rwanda, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to Kigali for the Africa Water and Sanitation Systems Leadership Symposium. Welcome to Kigali. I think a lot of good things have been said and have been discussed. And please allow me not to repeat them. Allow me to discuss this very important issue from probably a different angle. So, but before I say I do that, I once again to hope that alongside the important work ahead of us this week, I hope that we have an opportunity to experience the warmth of Rwanda and the hospitality of our people. 4 years from now, we arrive at 2030. And by every honest measure, we remain far from achieving our sustainable development goal for water and sanitation. Across Africa, 418 million people still lack basic water services. 779 million lack basic sanitation, and 839 million lack basic hygiene. Those numbers should concern us deeply, not because Africa has lacked effort or investment, but because, despite the progress we have made, the scale of the challenge remains immense. Across our continent, significant investment have been made. Pipes have been laid, boreholes have been drilled, and the treatment plants have been constructed and commissioned. Yet, today, a great many of these infrastructures are not effectively delivering the services for which they were designed. The lesson is clear. Building infrastructure is important, but to a large extent, it is only the beginning. Ensuring that the built infrastructure functions effectively and reaches communities over the long term is the real measure of success. This brings us to the central question before us this week. How do we translate investment into reliable and lasting services? The answer lies in stronger institutions, effective governance, sustainable financing, and accountable leadership. Leadership underpinned by the political commitment to ensure that every system we build continues to serve our people. And this is the leadership challenge before us, and it is precisely why this symposium matters. It is in this context that in February of this year, the African Union's General Assembly endorsed the Africa Water Vision and Policy 2063, which laid out in no uncertain words that governance and leadership are not accompaniments to a water-secure Africa, but rather the precondition for one. I'd go even further and say that they're also the answer to the question everyone in this sector eventually asks, the question of which and where does the money come from? The African Union's own panel on water investment found that better governance alone, that is, sound tariffs, honest collection, and disciplined financial management can unlock around $11.5 billion a year on this continent. Domestic resources mobilization, done properly, can unlock another $17.5 billion. Set against that, and while foreign partnership is important, but we see that foreign assistance is a modest line in the accounts. This goes to show that Africa's water future can and should be paid for by Africans. But we need to remember, capital, wherever it comes from, it goes where it is safe, it goes to towards institutions that keep honest books and do what they say they will do. So therefore, as we go through this week, I think we should not be misguided into repeating the same old conversations around where money will come from. Rather, we should think about how we build the kind of institutions that money wants to find. This, admittedly, is a harder conversation than building infrastructure because it involves uncomfortable questions around who gets accountable when systems fail and whether the people running those systems have both the skill and the incentive to keep them running. But ultimately, as leaders and stewards of our communities, this hard work is our responsibility to the citizens that we serve. Rwanda comes to this forum with the same humility and openness that we ask of all of us gathered here. Our own reforms are still underway and still incomplete. Our non-revenue water is higher than we would like it to be. By the way, I must confess that I find the term non-revenue water rather too gentle for the problem it describes. In my view, there is nothing non-revenue about water that has been treated and pumped, but never reaches the people it is meant to serve. That's a real loss of resources, and more importantly, a loss of service to our citizens. Again, talking about our systems, our rural services model, including the involvement of private operators, are still finding their feet. And we know that these are precisely the challenges that require honest leadership and practical solutions. We share these realities deliberately because we believe that this is a forum for honest exchange. What Rwanda can contribute is our experience around what has worked, what has not, and what we are still trying to figure out. And we come ready to learn from the experience of others in this room. At the end of the week, we will walk away with a set of commitments embodied in the Kigali Communiqué on systems transformation for the realization of the Africa Water Vision and Policy 2063. I encourage all of you, ministers, regulators, utility leaders, mayors, financiers, civil society organizations, and young professionals to make this document and to yours truly. Make the commitments clear enough and specific enough that someone can hold us to them when we meet again. But I also encourage us to imagine success beyond the document itself. The real test of this week will not be what we sign here in Kigali, but what changes when we return home in the institutions that we lead, in the decisions that we make, and ultimately in the quality, the reliability, and sustainability of the water and sanitation services that our people receive. Importantly, as also emphasized by our colleague minister from Senegal, let this conversation not end on Friday. Let us carry it to Abu Dhabi in December. Let us arrive not only with needs to present, but with solutions to offer, commitments to make, and a clear vision of the future that we want to build. So once again, I welcome you all in Kigali. I wish you very fruitful discussions, and on behalf of the President of the Republic of Rwanda, I'm happy to declare this symposium open. I thank you.
Another hearty round of applause for the Right Honorable Prime Minister. I thought this is when we scream happy because it's officially open. And we're now good to go in terms of the session and the sessions that have been lined up for this particular symposium. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Prime Minister, for also reminding us on how success should be measured. You've also given us the permission to lock ourselves in these rooms until we each have answers to those hard questions. As the moderator and the session MC, I'll make sure that we have answers, so we are not moving on with the same questions in the other sessions. I want to allow you and your delegation, Right Honorable Prime Minister, to leave at your own pleasure now, and we'll be able to continue with the program. Another round of applause to the Right Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen. The rest of us will stay seated. I have a few announcements as we appreciate the Right Honorable Prime Minister.
Thank you.